Hello guys, once again welcome back to another Android application development tutorial. In this video we are going to learn about what is the difference between implicit and explicit intent. So if you know the exact class name of an activity, you can use the explicit intent to start that activity. You can start an activity by using the action specified in the intent filter section using an implicit intent. Also, you can start an activity available in another application using implicit intent. Anyway, here I am going to show you what is the exact difference between explicit and implicit intent using a complete example. So we can create a new Android Studio project. Here I specify the app name as app A. Select empty activity. Okay, here our project is created in Android Studio. So first here I am going to add another activity to this Android Studio project. So first I close all these files. Now here I am going to create a new activity. I need an empty activity. Here I name it as share post. Okay, now the new activity is created. Now we can add some user interface. Go to the layout, go to design. Here I am going to add a simple text view. First specify the constraints. Here I am going to change the top margin into 150 dp. Now here I am going to modify the text appearance. Share post here, and I'm going to make the text into bold. Now modify the text size into 30 dp. Okay, so that's enough. This is the user interface for the share post activity. Now here I'm going to add one more activity. So create another activity. Select empty activity. So this is called send to mail activity. Finish. So now another activity is created. Also we can add some user interface. So I go to the previous activity, copy this text view. Now go to the newly created layout. Okay, send mail from here. Okay, so anyway, here in this application now we have three activities. First one is the main activity, second one is send to mail, and third one is share post. So now we can check the manifest file. So here in this project we have three activities. So of course the manifest must contain three activity elements. So this is the first activity, that is the main activity. So for this activity we have an intent filter section. So the intent filter section contains two properties. First one is the action and category. So here it is the main activity. So here the action is action main and the category is launcher. Okay, so anyway, this is our second activity called share post, and here is the third activity that is called the send to mail. Okay, so now here I am going to show you. First here I am going to show you what is meant by explicit intent. So you can use an explicit intent to start an activity if you know the exact class name of an activity. So here we have two activities, send to mail and share post. So that means we know the exact class name. So now we need to add some user interface inside main activity. So I close all these files. Now open resource, open layout, open activity main.xml. Here there is a text view, remove that one. So here I'm going to add some user interface. I need one button here. Specify the constraints first. For this button, I modify the top margin into 150 dp. Also here I'm going to change the width into 150 dp. So now modify the text. Here it is, share post. Now specify an on-click method, share post. Okay, so this is the first button. Now I need to add one more button. Specify the constraints. Now here also I modify the margin into 50 dp. Okay, so here also I change the layout width into 50 dp. Now modify the text into sent mail. Spelling mistakes in mail. Okay, this. Okay, so now we need an on-click method, sent mail. So this is the user interface for the main activity. Now go to the layout. So now we need to implement this method inside main activity class file. So create that method inside main activity. Now this is the second method. You can use this shortcut key Alt Enter to create that method inside main activity. Okay, so here we have two methods available inside main activity. So first, here I am going to start the first activity, that means the share post activity using an explicit intent. So you can use explicit intent if you know the exact class name of an activity. So here the activity class name is send to mail. So here I am going to use an explicit intent to start that particular activity. So create an intent object, new intent. If it is an explicit intent, you have to pass two parameters. First one is the context. So here I pass the activity context. Second one is the class name of an activity. So here the class name is share post dot class. So now this intent is an explicit intent. Now we can start activity. So start activity intent. So we can test it. So I open some Android virtual device. It's already running, so we can open it. Okay, anyway, I'm going to run it. So run the project. Okay, now the project available on our virtual device. So click the share post. So here that particular activity is open here. So this is an example of explicit intent. Now I'm going to start the second activity using implicit intent. So if you want to start an activity using implicit intent, that activity must have some intent filter section inside manifest. So now I go to the Android manifest.xml. This is our second activity, send to mail. So for this activity here I am going to add some intent filter section. So specify an intent filter. So here I'm going to specify some attribute called action. Now specify its name. So here I specify the action as action sent. That means this particular activity is capable of sending some data. That is meant by action. Okay, so this is an essential component for an intent filter. You must implement an action for an intent filter. Okay, now here I'm going to specify an optional attribute called data, and you have to specify the MIME type into, here I specify the MIME type into text to plain. That means this activity is capable of a plain text data. That is meant by the data attribute. Now I'm going to specify a category. I'm going to name into, I'm going to specify the category as category default. That means this activity is capable of receiving launch request. So that is the use of this attribute. So now this activity has an intent filter. So now we can start this activity use an implicit intent filter. Okay, anyway, go to main activity. Now I'm going to start the second activity using implicit intent. So first here I'm going to create an intent object. So here this is an implicit intent. so there is no parameters for the constructor. Okay, so now here I'm going to put some property for the object. So first one, set action. I'm going to specify the set action into intent dot action sent. That means this intent filter invoke any activity that has an action of send. That means any activity that capable of sending data. Okay, now we can specify the type of data. So we can use this method set type. So we need to send some plain text. Okay, so here I'm going to add some message also. First specify the key for the message. Now specify the message. This is a simple message. Okay, so now this is an example of implicit intent. So, and here you can see we didn't specify any activity name here. Instead we specify an action. So this intent is capable of invoking any activity that is capable of sending data. Okay, so now I'm going to start activity. So start activity and pass this intent object. Okay, so now we can test it again. So run the project again. So now the application available on this virtual device. I try to send to mail, and here is the magic. And here you can see this is our activity in our application, but here you can see some other applications. That means all these applications contain an activity that is capable of sending data. That is the main significance of using an implicit intent. So by using an implicit intent, you can start some activity available in another application also. That is the main significance of using an implicit intent. Okay, anyway, here I'm going to do the job using our own activity. So if you save your selection, you can select always, otherwise you can select just once. So now I'm going to perform my action using our own activity available in our application. Okay, anyway, that is the use of an implicit and explicit intent. Now I'm going to close this project. Just go to that virtual device. This is our application. I just put that application to the home screen. Okay, so here I'm going to start another Android Studio project. I name the application as app B and click next. Select empty activity and click finish. Now here our second project is created. So go to the activity main. So inside activity main, here I'm going to place a button. First we can specify the constraints. Change the margin into 150 dp. Change the text into send mail and specify an unclick method send mail. Okay, so specify the specify everything to 150. Okay, now go to the layout. Now implement this method inside our activities into mail. Okay, so here also I'm going to use an implicit intent. So intent, so intent dot set action, intent dot action sent, intent dot set type, text to plain. Here also just put some message, put extra message. This is a simple message. Okay, so now start activity and pass the intent. Okay, so now we can test it. So run the project. Okay, that application available on this virtual device. Try to send to mail, and here this dialog, here is our first application. So application A contain an activity that is capable of sending data. So I select just once. So now from application B we can open an activity available in application A. That is the main significance of using implicit intent. Anyway, I hope you understand what is the difference between explicit and implicit intent. In the very next video, I will show you what is the role of permissions while using implicit intent. For getting more Android tutorial updates, please subscribe this channel now. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.